Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 58th anniversary dinner of Congregation Adath Israel. Tonight we celebrate our guests of honor, Kim and Javitt, and Shelly and Noam Lichtman. Before we get started with the program tonight, we have a special guest speaker who flew in from Israel just for this very special occasion. First of all, I'd like to welcome back Rabbi and Mrs. Teitz, who have returned from their winter trip to Eretz Yisrael. And I'd like to call upon the Rav to say a few words.
I have to admit that this is a new experience for me. I'm accustomed to delivering speeches or lectures, and I have heard a definition of lecturing as the process of speaking in someone else's sleep. For me, this is the first time that I'm speaking in my own sleep, because my theory is that one gets over jet lag an hour a day. So after 3 days, it is now 2:25 in the morning for me. And I see that in the journal, Rabbi Schwartz stole my thunder with gematrias. I'd like to point out that there's one other one which adds up to 58, which is nach, rest, which is what I would love to be doing. But it is a pleasure to be able to come and participate, first of all, in the shul's celebration, and secondly, and above all, for the honoring of two couples. Half of each of those couples I have known for almost as long as they are alive, since both Noam and Kim are themselves products of our community and our school. And I would hope that it was there, in addition to their parents' homes, that they learned the idea of giving back to the community, the service that they demonstrate, although I tend to have to discount that, since their spouses who did not come through this system are certainly equally active and participatory in the community. Joel helped get the school started on the Gildor science competition, which the boys, thus far only the boys, we hope that the girls will soon follow, have distinguished themselves with great honor. Then, of course, he started working for the Gildors, which is a new meaning of working for the competition. But so be it. I would hope that we continue to benefit from their efforts, and I do have to mention, since I mentioned the two who are part of the community, first of all, to remember Zichroni Livracha, Mr. Art Walzer, who was a pillar of the shul in its earlier years, and Yibodel L'chaim Tovim, Rabbi and Chazan Joe Lichtman, who in the community certainly left an imprint which is not forgotten. But I would like to again hope that we would continue to benefit from the efforts of the Javitts and of the Lichtmans, and hope that it is contagious and that we all participate at a level which will be meritorious of honor. And not to be outdone, not too much of a gematria, but I note that Joel is a Kohen and Noam is a Levi. And the functions of the Kohen and the Levi, one is Lamod Levorech, to stand and give bracha, that's the Kohen, and both are Lamod L'Shoreis Hashem, to stand and give service to Hashem. And if you add up Lamod Levorech for Lamod L'Shoreis Hashem, you get to within one, which as you know is legitimate in the gematria. That adds up to the same amount as Noam, Mamis, Shena, Yisro, and Chanaleah. Mazel tov.
Thank you, Rabbi Teitz. Please feel free to continue to partake in the buffet while I'm speaking. I wouldn't say that before the Rav. I'd like to acknowledge certain individuals in the audience today. I'd like to acknowledge Rabbi Avram Herman, who stopped by earlier from the JEC Shul. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Rabbi Zev Wolbe from the Yeshiva. And I'd also like to acknowledge Mayor Joe Menza and Councilman Frank Dio of Hillside, who will visit us this evening. I'd also like to thank all those people who told me this week to break a leg. Thank you. On behalf of myself, my dinner co-chairman, Nachi Fight and Alex Krauss, and the entire Board of Trustees of the Shul, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming this evening and for showing your support. The dinner is our largest fundraising event of the year other than our membership drive, and the proceeds of tonight's dinner will help ensure that our shul continues to be a makom of Torah and tefillah and a place that continues to serve the spiritual and communal needs of all who support it. More importantly, the dinner affords us the opportunity to come together as a united family that is dedicated to Torah, tefillah, and community. The theme of this year's dinner is family. The Javitts and Lichtmans each have deep roots in our community, but these roots go beyond merely having a presence here. Throughout the years, each of these families has dedicated themselves to serving and supporting our shul and the community at large. Who better to represent what it means to be a part of the AI family than the Lichtmans and the Javitts? This has been an incredible year for our shul. We've had the pleasure to welcome in many new members, many of whom are here this evening, and almost 20 babies have been born since our last dinner. We've continued to introduce new and exciting programming and learning opportunities, and through the efforts of Dara and Dina, our dedicated youth directors, our youth program continues to grow and prosper. It is our hope and desire that through the continued support of all its members, Adath Israel can continue to grow and provide a home for all of the members of the AI family. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our newest board member, Nafi Baum. I'd also like to thank outgoing board member Eliza Milstein for her hard work and dedication during her board tenure. Thank you. Excuse me. An event like this can't happen without the hard work and selfless dedication of many individuals who have volunteered their time and efforts. We're here tonight because of the efforts of the dedicated members of the dinner committee, without whom this evening could not be possible. Therefore, on behalf of Nachi, Alex, myself, and the entire Board of Trustees of the shul, I'd like to thank the following individuals who have helped put this evening together, and please save your applause until the end. Ilana Adams, Nafi Baum, thank you for saving your applause till the end. Ilana Adams, Nafi Baum, Sarah Feit, David Feuerstein, Josh Fish, Daniel Fleischer, Rachel Fleischer, Donnie Gross, Ahuva Hockhauser, David Hockhauser, Maddie Hoffman, Rabbi Ari Isaacs, Dr. Sarah Krause, Brian Ness, Marvin Rosenzweig, Rabbi Pinchas Shapiro, Alex Spire, Tara Spire, Scott Susser, David Waxstock, Yaffa Welsman, and Sherry Winograd. Thank you all very much. Nachi, Alex, and I would like to expend a special thank you to our journal chairman, Yossi Pinsker, who in his MacGyver-like way not only put together our journal, but put just about everything else here together that gets plugged in. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank Rabbi Schwartz for all his help in putting together this dinner and for all that he does for the shul and its members throughout the year. From giving shiurim to answering questions to giving advice to just being available at all times of the day despite his part-time schedule. You're always there for every member of the shul, so thank you very much. I'd like to thank the Y for hosting us this evening. I'd like to thank Avenue Florists for their help in providing us with tonight's beautiful centerpieces. Just a note on the centerpieces, please feel free to take the flowers with you, but please leave all the vases and plates and other paraphernalia. I'd like to thank Scott Bradley for entertaining us on the piano this evening. Thank you. He's available for weddings and bar mitzvahs as well. I'd like to thank Yudi Abraham and Preferred Media Supply for providing us with audio-visual equipment tonight. Thank you, Yudi. I'd like to thank Uri Abramoff for providing the lighting equipment for this evening. Of course, I'd like to thank Ruvain Rahmani from Rubens Glotspot Caterers and Pinchas Kassir from Glotstar Caterers for putting together tonight's spread. Thank you very much. And finally, this doesn't really have to do with tonight, but I would like to thank all of the individuals who throughout the year volunteer their time and efforts for the benefit of the shul. Our shul is run based on volunteerism. Our shul would not run if it weren't for people like you who volunteer their time and efforts on a regular basis. So really, this night is for honorees, but this night is for everyone who volunteers for the shul as well. So thank you very much. And now the fun part. Excuse me. Last week we celebrated Purim, which is one of the most exciting times of the year here in our shul. We always celebrate Purim with our rocking Purim Chagiga. Our Chagiga offers children the opportunity to show off their best costumes, and it offers adults the opportunity to just look a little creepy. But the Purim Chagiga isn't the only program we have here in the shul. Just to name a few of the many events we've run this year, we've had movie night, Hanukkah in Chocolate Wonderland, and the parent-child Rosh Chodesh Sunday morning minyan, which was almost as well attended as our regular Sunday morning minyan. Some think that these programs are so popular because of the amount of work and attention to detail that goes into planning them. But me, I think there has to be something else that draws people to these events. Last month, we invited Life Touch church directories into our shul. For participants, it was an opportunity to get a free family portrait and directory with no strings attached. From what I understand, many people came away from the photo sessions with some real true family keepsakes. The 12 months since our last dinner has been filled with various calamities and catastrophes. There was the Costa Concordia disaster in Italy. There's been the relentless civil war in Syria. Israel suffered through almost unendless bombing from Gaza. Hurricane Sandy devastated the area. And yes, that is my house on the right. We suffered through the end of the world. And of course, besides these, there were some other disasters as well. I apologize to all Democrats in the room, especially Paul Gruber. Last month, Facebook celebrated Doppelganger Week. Not that I would know what Facebook is anyway, but for those of you who are unfamiliar, a doppelganger is someone's double or long-lost twin. In honor of Doppelganger Week, I offer my own version of some doppelgangers. We'll start out with honoree Joel Javitt. And here it is. Next, there's our other guest of honor, Noam Lichtman. Here's his doppelganger. Next, there's this guy. You know what? I don't feel like getting struck by lightning tonight. I'm going to skip it. Next, we'll turn to everyone's favorite jokester, Mark Weiss. You don't even need a doppelganger for that picture. But anyway, here's one anyway. And then finally, there's this handsome guy. About 30 pounds ago, I guess. What do you think? So you don't see it? All right, I'll offer one more. You know, after the dinner, people always ask me why I always pick on Mark Weiss in my dinner presentation. They tell me that Mark is an inspiration to his neighbors and friends. He's a wonderful role model for his children, they tell me. Why don't you ever show Mark's better side, they say. The bottom line is, the reason I do it is because Mark just makes it so easy, it's like stealing candy from a baby. We've been making some real progress in the construction of our new shul building. This is what the property looked like at this time last year. And now, just over 1 year later, look at how much progress we've made. For the past 4 years, I've had the honor of serving as the chairman of the board of our shul. The job isn't quite as glamorous as some people make it look. However, it's truly gratifying to know that I have the support and backing of our membership. I've even heard that some have compared me to some very famous and influential people. My only hope is that I can exhibit the type of intelligence and decision-making that makes people feel confident in me. This picture was taken before I broke my leg, yes. I'd like to once again thank all of you for coming tonight. I know there are many dinners and other commitments this time of year. Even so, I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing this evening. And now, I'd like to call upon Rabbi Schwartz, the Rav of our shul, to deliver his words of greetings.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. John Walsman. I'm in a slight quandary that will work to your advantage. Rav Teitz has already called me out on the carpet for violating the "I'm the only one who's allowed to offer gematrias in this town" rule. And then he automatically turned around and stole everything I was about to offer to you this evening and did it in 12 seconds. So thank you very much and have a wonderful evening. The Rav and I have had a wonderful relationship over the course of the last 9 years. I think it's partially because he always gets it straight and I get it backwards. So the Rav pointed out that the correct gematria of 58 is Nach. I'd like to point out that if you read it backwards, it's also Chen. And I think that the message of Chen is perhaps the most important message we can take away from 58 years and of our honorees this evening. Many years ago, I went to a high school where there was an old man, Hyman Cohen, who would daven in the yeshiva every single morning. Hyman was the type of guy you didn't notice that often, but at some point, everybody remembered him because in the back of every single yearbook from the 12th grade class, Hyman would take out an $18 ad. And year after year, Hyman always put in the same ad. And the ad went something like this. Do you remember the last 8 words in Parshas Bereshis? Do you make it part of your life? Best of luck, Hyman. Most people never bothered to look up the last 8 psukim, or the last 8 words in Parshas Bereshis. But the Torah tells us, V'Noach matzah chen be'enei Hashem. Noach found favor in the eyes of God. There are a lot of words that we use in Judaism that make a lot of expression. But the word chen is unique. What is chen? Chen, says the Malbim, is a concept of making sure that when people look at you, when God looks at you, they look and they say, wow, that's the way it's supposed to be. Chen is what you look at when you see your child and you say, wow, that's a chenis dicker kid. Chen is what you look at when you look at your spouse and you say, wow, how lucky am I to be married to that individual. Chen is also what you feel when you look at a community like ours and you take a tremendous amount of pride and say, thank God, if I had to go ahead and live anywhere in this world, I'd want to live among these great, wonderful people. And chief among them, in my mind, when I think of the word chen, are our honorees this evening, Kim and Joel Javitt, and Noam and Shelly Lichtman. Like Hyman, Kim and Joel come from a long family of Kohanim. They understand what it means to be people who live with chen. They understand that from the beginning of the year to the very end of the year, they have to begin and present with a sense of honesty, with a sense of good-naturedness. There is nobody I want to stand next to or listen to on Rosh Hashanah more than Joel's tekios. From the first sound to the end of the last one on the second day, it just sounds like he's got that energy, and if you gave him a chance, he'd go through another 350, which of course, Joel, would mean yet another day of sermons, which of course would mean a much longer speech, and I can't promise that you'd get Rabbi Teitz to make it go a little bit faster. Our adult education program here in the shul is really very much a testament to Kim's tenacity. And not because she pushes you to come to the shiurim, but because she's inspired. And as a result, she inspires you to want to go ahead and get involved, to study together and to grow together. That's what the Javitt home is all about. It's about growth together with a sense of chen. And if it's true of the Javitts and the Kohanim, it's true of their cousins, our Leviim, Noam and Shelly as well. 10 years ago, a couple of weeks passed, we came to visit this wonderful community. And in the context of visiting this community on a Shabbos afternoon, Shelly opened her arms and her home to our family and inspired us in a very special way. You're in my home, Shelly said, and in my home, my first goal is for you to feel comfortable. This is not the time for you to be peppered with questions and to be made to feel like you're on the spot. My family is your family, my home is your home. And I must tell you, Shelly, it was a very, very big sense of confidence that we had, for which we're eternally grateful. Anybody who walks into our home AI and finds his or her place owes that to the efforts that the Lichtmans put in on a week-in and week-out basis, on a year-in and year-out basis, from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur and beyond. Noam and Shelly make sure that we know where to sit and we can find our place. And thanks to the efforts currently being led by Dina and Dara, our children are being led today to know their place. They are creating the next generation and doing it with the same sense of chen that goes ahead, together with the Javitts, to go ahead and build a wonderful Adath Yisrael. And so I close, as my senior Rav, our Mara D'Asra, did as well. Because the Rambam at the end of Hilchos Shemitah and Yovel points out that it's not Shevet Levi alone that has the opportunity to go ahead and serve Hashem. But anybody who goes ahead and Nadva Rucho, says the Rambam, anybody who takes on that spirit, La'amod L'Shares, to go ahead and rise to the occasion and serve. God says, I'm part of your family as well. I'm your Nachala. And in the case of our honorees, and in our case as well, may God turn around and give us chen as well. May God grant you and our families tremendous amounts of excitement and nachas. And as we conclude in our benching, v'nimsa chen v'seichel tov, may we always be found, not only in our 58th year, but for years to come, with a sense of reverence and a sense of chen and appreciation. Be'enei Elokim v'Adam. Mazel tov.
We're going to deviate slightly from the program. Mayor Chris Bowage of Elizabeth has joined us on his way home from a prior commitment, and I'd like to ask the mayor to say a few brief words. Thank you.
Rabbi Schwartz, that was an excellent toast and commendation for the honorees, and I thank you for that great presentation. I enjoyed listening to it. Thank you, Rabbi. My daughter and her friend and I are just left Kane University from the play Hairspray, and I knew you'd be at the end of your event, and I dragged my daughter in the back with me, and she's like, "Dad, I want to go home and watch TV." But I really wanted to stop by and congratulate the Javitts and the Lichtmans on their testimony here and the commendation and the recognition from the community. Your service to the community has been unprecedented, and on behalf of all of Elizabethans, I congratulate you and wish you well. Thank you.
Okay, and now to move on with the program. And now to introduce the honorees Kim and Joel Javitt, I'd like to call upon their son, Aaron Javitt.
Shavua Tov. There are many wonderful things I could say about my parents, as they have done so much for AI and the broader Hillside Elizabeth community. However, what I really want to talk about tonight is how much they have done for me and my sisters. It's not very often that one gets the occasion to brag about their parents in public, so I'm going to go ahead and take the opportunity. It's very fitting that the theme for the dinner tonight is family. Family has always been my parents' first and top priority, especially when it came to our education. Besides supporting my sisters and I through 15 years of yeshiva day school, then a year in yeshiva or seminary, and now college, they took an active role in teaching us everything kids should know, from bike riding to quantum mechanics. It's no coincidence that my siblings and I all gravitate towards the sciences. My parents' passion for engineering is something that they continually impart on us. In addition, from a very young age, my parents exposed us to Judaic learning as well. Learning Sefer HaChinuch with my father and Parsha with my mother has been one of the highlights of every one of my Shabbatot. The importance that they placed on education transferred into the public sphere as well. My father originally becoming a science teacher to fill a position at JEC that they had opened, and my mother coordinating parent-daughter learning, in part because my sisters were involved. My parents continued to expand outside providing for their immediate family into providing for the shul and community beyond. They've taken the shul on as their family, providing support and education for you the same as they have supported and educated us. In the Parsha we read this morning, Parsha Kitzisa, God appointed Betzalel as the architect of the Mishkan. Many of the commentaries ask how Betzalel, a descendant of many generations of slaves in Egypt, had the know-how and knowledge to build the tabernacle, the Mishkan. One theory I have is that Betzalel himself may not have known, but was the product of many generations of great and wonderful people. In the Parsha, when he is mentioned, it specifically mentions his grandfather Hur, one of Moshe's close aides, and there's a midrash, a commentary in this week's Parsha, that Hur actually was one of the people who stood up and protested against the sin of the golden calf, the Egel Azav. My parents have always taught us, and they themselves have always stood up for what they believe in. And I think that, in part, has encouraged me and my sisters to do the same. Although one doesn't choose their parents, I've just gotten lucky and, been lucky enough to have mine. I'm so proud to be able to speak about them tonight, and it's not often that one gets to thank their parents, so Im and Abba, thank you and Mazal Tov.
Kim and Joel, on behalf of the shul, I'd like to present you with this plaque, which says, Kohanecha yilbeshu sadek v'chasidecha yoranenu. Your priests will be clothed in righteousness, and your devout ones will sing joyously. Psalms 132:9. In recognition of your outstanding leadership and dedicated service, we honor Joel and Kim Javitt. Your commitment to education and tireless contributions have enhanced our shul and the greater Elizabeth Hillside community. Congregation Adath Israel 58th Anniversary Dinner, Chaf Aleph Adar Tafshin Ayin Gimel, March 2nd, 2013.
treat to be introduced by our son Aaron. I think this is a first for us, and I really hope it got captured on some video somewhere. Of course, we're very grateful to have our daughter Shoshana and Naomi here with us tonight to share this honor with us as well, and Saba, Safti, and Safta, and our favorite Aunt Joan and Donna to celebrate with us. We're delighted to see the wonderful turnout tonight in support of Adath Israel and to celebrate this honor with us and with the Lichtmans. Tonight's theme of family is one that resonates very strongly with us. Joel and I believe that it takes a community to raise a family, and it takes a family to build a community. As most of you know, I was practically born in Hillside over 40 years ago, and we'll just leave it at that. And AI was the shul. I could literally go on for hours and hours with stories about the olden days when the entire shul could sit down to lunch in a room half the size of our current Kiddush room. And Baruch Hashem, all aspects of the shul have grown. Fortunately, what has not changed is the strong sense of community that Adath Israel has always had. In the 1960s, the members of the community felt responsible for each other. Perhaps this characteristic stemmed from the fact that our shul was established by survivors of the Holocaust who treated each other as siblings, and by extension, we were their cousins. There was a feeling of warmth and caring, and of course, there were the petty squabbles and even fistfights over who won the bidding for Shlishi, for Yomim Noam. But even rivalry sometimes comes along within a loving family. In the 1970s and 80s, new people like Shelly and Noam Lichtman started to move in, largely due to the JEC school system, and there were new ideas, new stressors, pressure for an Eruv, even a pizza store. But still, that feeling of extended family remained in the community. If one family had a simcha, we all rejoiced. If there was a tragedy, we all mourned. When my father, Zechron Levracha, became too ill to walk to shul every day, a group organized to take turns driving and visiting. And when Joel and I were married, practically the entire shul showed up in my mother's backyard for our Sheva Brachot. That was one of the original parak on the lawns. And everyone should be able to relate to this in this room, because all of this continues today on a larger scale. Many families who have moved into the shul recently have commented on how warmly they were welcomed and the number of Shabbat invitations they received. When there's a new baby born, meals are organized. When a homemaker with children was incapacitated, I literally watched online meals sign up, that spreadsheet sign up, fill up in a matter of hours with immediate outpouring of support. And with the untimely passing of some of our treasured community members this past year, Ruth Veit, Carol Aptowitzer, we all cried together with their families. When Joel and I decided to buy a house in Hillside, we knew we wanted to live and raise our children in a community that would embrace our family as they would their own. And beyond just warmth, we wanted a community that placed Torah values and spiritual focus above materialism. This has attracted a wide range of families, allowing Adath Israel to retain a wonderful spirit of diversity. We've grown to include a multidimensional array of Sephardim, Ashkenazim, students to great-grandparents, artists to accountants, and those with different religious backgrounds. We sit side by side in shul. We don't label, and we don't judge each other. We don't shrug away our differences or try to ignore them, but rather we embrace them. We really enjoy inviting a new family over for lunch and understanding their background, their experience, and their hashkafa. The women from the Parsha class who are here tonight will remember that I like to talk about how our souls were all present at Har Sinai, but we each received the message through our own individual pipe. The Yam Shel Shlomo in his Hakdama B'Balkavan says, Shekol HaNeshamot Hayu B'Har Sinai V'Kiblu Mentet Tzinorot Kol Echad Ra'a Derech Tzinor Shelo L'fi Hasakoto, meaning that all the souls were at Har Sinai. They each received through 49 different pipes. Each one had their path was, and their pipe was according to their capabilities. The source was the same, but what we heard may have been different based on our unique backgrounds and experiences, kind of like a filter. One is not better than the other. The differences are intentional and they're God-given. It is all Torah, and in turn we adapt based on our God-given talents and experiences to express ourselves in our avodat Hashem uniquely as well. Someone with a beautiful singing voice, such as fellow honoree Noam Lichtman, may inspire as a shliach tzibor. Talented women, such as my mother-in-law, may needlepoint beautiful talit bags or challah covers to inspire her children and grandchildren in their avodat Hashem. Scientists, and yes, even science teachers, will delve to understand Hashem's creations and impart the wonder to His students. In the end, we combine together into a musical symphony, or for those who saw our Purim costume this year, a whole spectrum of colors. Quote, As it says in the Aruch HaShulchan, in the Hakdama, Kol HaTorah Kula Nikreit Shira, HaTiferet HaShir, Hikashakolat Mishanim Zemizeh, V'zehu HaIkar HaNimut, which means the whole Torah in its entirety is referred to as a shir, as a song, and the beauty or the glory, the magnificence of the shir is that the different voices combine together in a harmony to create a certain sweetness and pleasantness. This is precisely the community we were looking for. We wanted our children to grow up exposed to different role models, realizing that there are different ways to be a Torah observant Jew. Each path is valid as long as it brings us closer to Hashem, and it is part of a child or young adult's critical learning process to introspect and extrospect to figure out which path is right for each of them.
Aaron, Shoshana, and Naomi, we think that each of you is off to a wonderful start in finding your own paths to the Derech of Hashem. We have tremendous appreciation for the community who have helped us raise you. In fact, we recognize that it truly does take a community to raise a family. As a child growing up in communities that, while not AI, had many of the same wonderful aspects, I remember having a strong sense of security and warmth in having not only a loving family, but also a concerned community, a community that embraces multiple generations. Rav Schwartz commented in his drasha a few weeks ago that what we do is l'dorot, meaning it is for the generations. Rav Schwartz often puts this into practice in his biblical personalities classes, where 3 generations of a family can actively discuss Torah together. Kim and I would like to thank our parents for selecting and contributing the communities that we were raised in, as well as those who came before them in building the communities. And it took one family in particular to shape the community we live in today, and we refer, of course, to the Prell and Teitz family, headed by Rav Pinchas Teitz Zal and our Morah d'Astro, Rav Elazar Meir Teitz and Rebbetzin Elisheva Teitz. None of us would be here tonight were it not for their vision, leadership, and commitment, and for that we are thankful. But at the same time, we don't forget that it also takes a family to raise a community. At the most basic level, there would be no community without all the families that make up our membership. Beyond that, there are so many incredible individuals and families in our shul that continue to pour their time and energy to sustaining and improving our shul. The doers, like Noam and Shelly, who now have grown children continuing the tradition of service to the community, as well as our past honorees and those who have somehow managed to escape being guests of honor. There are many examples of multiple generations of families serving the community. Given the time limit that Nachi gave us, I won't name them. I want to thank and acknowledge the dinner committee and other board members. They are an incredibly hard-working group. Everyone pitches in and is 100% committed to the shul and its members. All of these people do what they do on a volunteer basis. I have been incredibly moved at times when I stop to realize how much some of these folks take away from their own families to better the shul, because the shul, in a sense, is their family, our family.
This community, if I can put it into one word, is family.
I've raised my family here, as so many other people have raised their families here, and I've always felt that everyone is 100% accepting, as in a family.
I grew up in a community that had a strong sense of family and a strong sense of generations, and know that you're part of a extended Jewish family.
We've seen lots of people moving in, apartments, houses, both are wonderful, both add to the community, people of different ages.
And it's always just felt right. We were warmly welcomed in shul. We felt comfortable from day one. We've made many, many friends here. We've watched our kids, along with our very close friends' kids, grow up together.
I think we like the fact that the community is very diverse. That has carried through all the evolution of the community, no matter how it's grown and how it's changed.
It's something that attracted us, and it's still attracting people even today.
I was really drawn to the multi-generational family community and to their focus on just solid values.
And I think Noam and I knew from the very beginning that this was a place we could really call home.
Both my youngest daughter Naomi now and before her older siblings get involved.
We're having activities during the week, Shabbos afternoon groups. It's great to see. And most notably, to see my own daughter as one of the co-youth directors following in my footsteps like I followed in my parents' footsteps. They're much involved. When we moved in 1960, it's a line that has continued to grow, and really the word is family.
Joel and Kim, our Javits, have really understood the idea of roots, always organizing and constantly encouraging us to reach our spiritual heights, both in tefillah and in Torah learning. Kim's been active in keeping our Torah learning focused, especially for the adults. And Joel active in our tefillah, from the excitement of the congregational singing of a Karbach-style davening to the Tekiyos on Rosh Hashanah. They really get the sense of getting all the family involved, but being rooted within family and within strong Torah-based family values.
Kim has made a commitment to the community, and along with Joel, they've raised 3 beautiful children here. Joel is our shofar blower. I think does a fantastic job, by the way. And Kim gives all sorts of shiurim, which I absolutely love to attend. And they're long-term, very committed community members.
With Noam and Shelly, community begins with family. Whether it's the youth program that Noam began and is now being run by Dina, his daughter, whether it's that great big open family home that Shelly's always open, from the greatest of programs to the most essential opportunities of family. Family builds community in the Lichtman background.
An absolute privilege to be sharing this honor together with Shelly and Noam Lichtman. We've lived together in the community with them for quite some time, and it's really an honor to be joined together with them tonight. I want to thank my mother and both of my parents, my father, Alav Shalom, and my mother, for deciding to move to Hillside Elizabeth Community all those years ago. You know, my mother certainly for passing along those values to us, the family, community, wanting to give back. My parents certainly did that in their day, and my mother continues to through her work. And thank you.
It's nice to see and hear the sound of young children playing in the shul or in the downstairs.
If we are both a community of individuals, a mispar shemos, a number of names, then the glue that takes us between the individual and the community is definitely our sense of family. Adath Yisrael as a shul is built on that glue that is family.
And it's a place that hopefully there'll be a place where people will come to raise their families over years to come, and hopefully we'll be a part of it for many years to come.
And we've all figured out a way to live together, grow together, and continue to grow together. And we hope one day to have our grandchildren grow here as well.
Debbie Katz.
Hi, good evening. Before I start, I just want to say, I visit here quite often to see my mother, and I truly feel like I'm part of the community because you all welcome me so much. I just wanted to mention that. I want to wish Mazel Tov to the Javits, and of course to my sister Shelly and Noam. The creation of the universe takes a mere 34 verses in the first chapter in Bereshit and in the first 3 verses of the second chapter. While the making of the Mishkan takes hundreds of verses spanning over 5 chapters of the Torah. Why? Why so many for that and not for the universe? Because the Mishkan, the purpose of the Mishkan is to make a home for Hashem here on earth, to make a space for Him here on earth. Chol is the space we make that God makes for man, while Kodesh is a space that we make for Hashem. But we're in Galus, and we can't make a Mishkan, we can't build a Beit HaMikdash, but we build Batei Knesiyot in our communities. That's how we do it. And Adath Israel is the Mishkan of Elizabeth. And for over the past 26 years, both Shelly and Noam have been an integral part in the growth and development of Adath Israel. And they've thereby fulfilled their requirement to make a space for Hashem here on earth. And so, with that, I am truly honored and privileged to introduce Shelly and Noam, my sister and my brother.
We'd like to present to Shelly and Noam this plaque, which says, Kol mechabed es haTorah, gufo mechabed es habrios. Whoever honors the Torah is himself honored by mankind. Pirkei Avos 4:6. In appreciation for your exemplary leadership and enduring contributions to our shul and the greater Hillside Elizabeth community, we acknowledge Noam and Shelly Lichtman. Your dedication to the proliferation of Torah study and to the youth of our community have truly enriched all of our lives. Congregation Adath Israel, 58th Anniversary Dinner, Chaf Aleph Adar Tafshin Ayin Gimel, March 2nd, 2013.
Okay, thank you. Rav Teitz actually stole some of my thunder, but that's fine. That's fine. It was very nice that we were honored with the Javits, especially Kim, who grew up in this community as well. I think the added part that growing up on the other side of town and then gradually moving to Adath Israel and the North Avenue section really has been a great part of my life and Shelly and my life together. Rabbis teach us that those that run towards honor, honor will run away from them. But those that run away from honor, honor will follow them. We try to run away, I'm telling you, very, very honestly, but the constant badgering and the constant torture of many people, for example, Marvin with the Chinese water torture, bamboo shoots under my nails, we just finally had to say yes and accept this, but seriously, really very humbly. My parents moved here over 50 years ago in 1960, and since then there's really been an unbroken chain of members of my family living here throughout the greater community since then. Actually, the reason that we even came here, little interesting story. My father was a Rav and a Chazan in different communities, Scranton, Pennsylvania, where I was born, also in Newton, New Jersey, not a hotbed of Jewish life. And it was actually on Pesach of 1960 when I had a nice little friend, little Mary Lou. Yeah, true. Mary Lou, who lived across the dirt road. And I would go visit all the time. We'd play. She'd come to my house. I'd go to her house. So it was Pesach of 1960, and I went over to her house. And I came back home a little later with bread and butter, eating that. So my parents knew immediately, we got to get the kids out of here and get them a good Jewish education. And where did they find it? In New Jersey, of course, Elizabeth, New Jersey. And my father began here, first at Beis Yitzchak, the shul on Jersey Avenue, and then we lived right a couple of blocks away, and immediately it was serving the community. He taught in the JEC, he was the chazan of the shul, serving the community in really its infancy. I always remember very warmly, really, all of our non-affiliated, non-religious friends who were our next-door neighbors would always be invited for a Pesach Seder, or I always remember going to shul. We'd always, come in a little suit, and our neighbor who maybe he went to the Talmud Torah actually at JEC. They used to have a Talmud Torah there many years ago, and he would come to shul with us. It was his only Jewish education. Never knew what ended up happening to him, but it's things like that my parents always involved with the community, and really, we learn, what do they say, that the Masa Avos, Siman Labanim. I think me and my siblings really took those things to heart. My mother was very involved with the Mizrahi women's group, known now, of course, as Amit, was president, and with all the good work that they did, taught us from a young age that we're here in a community, and there's not anything else but to serve it and to work with the community to make it a place where it'll be beneficial for us as we grow. So many memories of early Elizabeth, walking on Moore Avenue before pizza shops and Chinese and kosher Dunkin' Donuts. That used to be a gas station, by the way. And those things are in my memory constantly of how the community has grown as a whole. Many warm memories of growing up and going to the JEC from kindergarten all through high school, and again, watching and learning from my parents, even just in the infancy of the JEC, even, where I remember going to Shabbos groups where it was just a local member of the community who would tell us stories, and we'd sneak into the gym, play a little basketball, of course, and those kind of things I remember very warmly. But it was always, even it used to be that before, now we bring their children sukkah hopping on Sukkot. In the early days, and many people didn't even have sukkahs. Many people lived in apartments or in two-family homes. We were lucky to have a sukkah, some of our neighbors, and we would go after davening on sukkahs from Beis Yitzchak, going home to home for a little kiddush, a little l'chaim, and it was community. The children grew up together, the parents were friends, and as we moved on and we moved to Hillside Road and to the Elmora section of Elizabeth, also a new group of friends. I got involved with the youth department there at an early time. Again, just making sure that the kids have something to do on a Shabbos afternoon, visiting with friends and the like. Shelly as well came from a community, Kew Garden Hills and Laurelton, Queens, where her parents also were instrumental in giving her and her siblings the sense of community, hosting many community events as well. And when we got married, it was almost a natural, thanks to some people like the Rosenzweigs, who had just gotten married before us, and there was an apartment available. We had looked other places, to be honest, just because we were young, single, Upper West Side, things like that. But it was being at the right place at the right time, and an apartment became available, and we moved in there, and eventually to what we have today. And the biggest gift, as I mentioned on the video, is the fact that the things that we did, and again, nothing to do. This is not why we do it. This is not what my parents taught. This is not why my parents and Shelly's parents did anything for the community. It was just the thing to do and the right thing to do. That's how a Jewish community grows, with the families that we have, and that's the only way that we can do it. So they taught us, and when I see that my daughter is involved and my son and my both sons are involved, it's something that is so important. So thank you very much for the honor. Thank you for honoring us with the Javitts, another family that has been here for many years. And I'll keep on trying to run away from this, but it is humbling, and it is an honor for both of us. And hopefully, if whoever could do this again, we would probably do the same thing. So again, thank you, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
I'd like to once again wish a mazel tov to the Javitts and the Lichtmans. I'd like to thank everybody for coming this evening. We've really had a very special evening tonight, and it's because of the Javitts, the Lichtmans, and all of you. Thank you very much. I don't have the date for next year's dinner, but I'll let you know as soon as I find out. Dessert will be served shortly. Thank you very much.